The CB1000R. When Honda brought this bike out, they proudly shouted from the rooftops about how few plastic panels it had, which, if you ignore the rear hugger, the air intakes, and the ignition surround, is pretty true, and these aluminium trims do look pretty cool. But regardless, after saying all that, they put the bike together and stuck this monstrosity on it. This nasty, cheap, wobbly, matte black, horrible mudguard has no place on this bike. It doesn't belong in terms of style, it doesn't belong in terms of material, and thankfully channel favourites SW-Motech have given us the answer with this, an eat your hipster heart out aluminium front mudguard. So let's get that plastic monstrosity off and get this cool looking aluminium piece on the front of my bike. So step one, let's get the old mudguard off. Oh dear. That P-clip that I put on when I removed the reflectors and moved them up to here is in a terrible state, so that's clearly not meant for outdoor use. I'll have to find a replacement for that. Check the video in the top right to see me removing the ugly factory reflectors and changing it to fork mounted. Left side free. To be fair, the stock factory bolts themselves aren't exactly in a good shape, properly furry. Very disappointing after just 2 years. The bolts and screws and things on my Yamaha, 14 years old, were in a far better nick than that. So there we go, that is everything loose. To get this thing off is a little bit awkward because we need to tip it back and then flex the sides in to stop these bolts from scratching the forks, although I thought I'd scratched it, but looks like I got away with it. Right, so that's the horrible plastic piece of rubbish off. Actually looks quite cool without, doesn't it? Bit flat tracky, I like it. And first up is the left side mounting piece. For this we need one black Allen headed bolt, fully replacing the factory bolt, so I can put these, well, that one's quite clean actually, bad example. We can put these furry monstrosities aside, maybe clean them up if I ever want to put that horrible, disgraceful thing back onto the bike. Can't imagine I will. First of all, make sure everything lines up, make sure I've got the right bits, because my bike is a 2020. Technically it was made in 2019, it was registered in 2020, but semantics. And on the SW-Motech website, this is listed only for the 2022 model, but as they haven't changed anything down here, it fits just perfectly by the look of it, so that's a good sign already. A little bit of thread lock on the first bolt. Oh, a little bit too much there actually. Oh, that's better, just a tiny blob. Don't want to kick the arse out of it. And this is also the blue stuff, medium strength, none of that red permanent shizzle. Right, so just finger tight for now. And for the rear bolt, there is actually in here a little bracket which is designed to pop up in there like this, and it gives you a mounting point for the factory reflectors. Now, as I've taken those away, I can ignore this and just get on without it. But it's good to see that SW have got you covered so you can fit all your original bits and bobs that you need to be legal on the road. Dollop a thread lock on that bolt. That's also finger tight. And then up here to secure the brake line, I've got a longer black bolt, a spacer, and a locking nut. And to get the brake line in the right angle and space, this goes bolt in first, then the spacer that goes through the clamp on the brake line, and then the nut on the back, which is easier said than done. There we go. There's no thread lock on this one because it is a self-locking nut on the back there, so everything will hold itself in place. And I'm going to tighten this up using my tool porn alert. We're a Joker spanner set. Look at this. Although I've got 2/8 after the disaster with the belly pan issue. Check the video if you haven't seen that. Right, just do that semi-tight for now because we might need to do a bit of rotation and stuff once the mudguard is in place. And that's this side pretty much ready, that you can see where this is going. On this side again, there's a little bracket to put the reflector on with, and it's also got a little knob in to put the original clip that was holding the ABS sensor in place. So you can just clip that in, put your reflector on top, and you're all good to go. But as I've already got this P-clip going on, I'm just going to stick that in there. There we go, lovely. Hopefully that won't affect the lining up of the mudguard too much, the extra thickness of the P-clip there. I can't imagine that it would. This is all steel, so it's relatively flexible. So that's finger tight. And then at the top here, this horrible, furry, dirty bracket holding the brake lines and things. I'm going to have to sand these down and repaint them at some point. Everything just looks so disgusting. It's like a 20-year-old bike, not a 2-year-old one. But anyway, get the bolt through there, self-locking nut on the other side, tightened with the new spanner. Whoa. Don't worry ladies, you'll all get your turn. Right, so that's still a bit loose, and we can come on to the had to do that before, but I used to just go and run the GoPro under a tap because it got so hot. It is absolutely boiling today. Thank dog for the small bit of shade that I'm getting from these trees here. But we're almost finished. Final stage is to stick the mudguard on. It looks like, to my eye measurements, this is a bit longer than this, so SW-Motech is obviously going to have to go to the front, which makes sense. Why would you have the branding hidden away at the back? Right, so this presents up to the mounting bracketry there, and that is a vast improvement over that horrible stock thing. It's so much smaller. I mean, if companies like Triumph can do this, why can't Honda? But never mind, let's get this one fitted without throwing it on the floor. I have a choice of black or silver bolts, so it's a black and silver bike, so I'm going to go for the silver ones. It looks like I'm having a bit of a threadlock volcano here. That's a real shame. See how hot it is? Right, put a dollop of threadlock on the bolt. It's like a chocolate fountain for Smurfs. Probably a lot less tasty though. I imagine it'll give you a bit of constipation as well. Oh, such a shame. We'll throw away all of that Smurf spunk. And those threadlock bolts, quite obviously. Right, so tighten all of them up, and then with the baby torque wrench we can go around and do the torque round. So 9 Newton meters of torque for the bigger bolts, and then 5.5 on these baby ones at the top. And there we go, job is a good one. That is the SW-Motech aluminium front mudguard fitted to my 2020 CB1000R, and I think that is a vast improvement on the old one. And if anything, I would say at the back end there we're actually getting a tiny bit more protection from shite being thrown at the radiator. So well done, SW-Motech, you not only made it look better, but you've actually provided a bit more protection for the front of the bike. Really happy with how that looks. That's the mudguard that should have come on this bike from the factory. Maybe think the line of that brake line could be a bit better. Perhaps this hardware should be mounted somehow around the back there. Don't know, maybe a new bracket from SW would have been a nicer touch to bring all of this behind this piece here and then come around the back to hold it, but yeah, small details. Perhaps slightly concerned that there's a lot less protection for the sliders of the fork here. I mean, there's a little bit going to be provided by this, a bit of direction of stuff being thrown away from the wheel, but not nearly as much as there was on the factory one. The front of the forks was completely protected, but you have to make the choice, don't you? It's either style or substance, and in this case, I'm quite happy with style. Yeah, really like that. So there you go. That's the aluminium mudguard from SW-Motech. Big thanks to SW-Motech for continuing to support the channel and throwing this over to me free of charge for me to test out. Huge thanks also to you for watching. I hope this video has been interesting to you. I hope you also like the look of my CB1000R with its new mudguard as much as I do. If you do, if you found it interesting, give me a thumbs up. If you thought it was a load of dog toilet, then give it a thumbs down. Either way, leave me a comment below, tell me what you did and didn't like, and I'll do my very best to get back to you. Watch out for this bike smashing onto screens near you very soon from the upcoming Norway tour. Going to be going and taking some bucket list stuff off. Otherwise, I've been Andy. This has been my CB1000R. Keep yours shiny, and I'll see you out there. Ta-ra!